So talk about what goes through your mind and how important it is for lifeguards to really understand that they have people's lives in their hands.
Yeah, it's simply put, it's the easiest way for someone to conceptualize it. It doesn't matter if it's at the Jersey Shore in California or in Hawaii, or if it's a 16-year-old lifeguard or a 32-year-old vet. The parent wants the lifeguard to do the best job, because if it's their child or their loved one, they want to make it back to the beach. And that could be, you know, like today they had a hurricane swell, and yesterday as well in Jersey. It's still August, you know what I mean? It's not even past Labor Day. Things can happen at any time, and you don't want any excuses or like, oh, we had a hiring shortage and it's hard to find workers and this and that. It's like, I don't care. My child or my loved one is at risk because you're not up to par, so to say. So it doesn't matter where you are. It's like the lifeguard that does the job is the most important lifeguard in the world, because they're saving that person's life that day. It's not like me in Hawaii or this one in that, or this, you know, like this stud in the Jersey Shore versus, it's whoever is doing the job that day needs like a standard of training and a standard of accountability, because they're the ones who's gonna have to do the rescue at that moment, and the patient's what matters, like the ego and whatever thing, it's the patient. So, you know, like what you said, simply, like, in my opinion, there's a very high drowning rate per capita. So you go town by town, they each have their own, you know, way of style of training. And I don't agree with that. They, you know, have a little bit of old school mentality, and I get it. But I think that when it's coming to something as like sacred as saving someone's life, that it has to be in like an all-encompassing effort to get the best training, the best methods, the best pay, whatever it may be, to attract the talent to do that job. So,
and at the North Shore, where you were part of the most elite team, and in the documentary, it was something that they said that I didn't think of. Like, I won't lie, they were like, "Listen, we're like the most elite, you know, people in the military. Like, we're going out there in some pretty heavy water. You know, large waves. It's intense. You guys are using jet skis. I don't see jet skis used out here at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, the surf's different, obviously, the conditions. I would say the traffic is very similar to Hawaii. Like, Jersey Shore gets packed.
Very busy.
What we do is very specific lifeguarding. I would say, honestly, if you have the, you know, gumption to do it, it's actually a less demanding focus than it is 10,000 people at the Jersey Shore. It's just an athletic skill set that you need that most don't have. So for me, surf lifesaving is simple, because the body goes in the water here, the body exits there, there's currents, right? If the surfer eats it here, he's gonna end up there. When it's like flat water and all these other conditions here, it's like a game of attrition, because it's like their attention span. So how do you pay attention for an 8-10 hour day? You know what I mean? Here we have, like, what I do is high action. It's like a passion, first off, so it's easy for me to do. It's easy for any of us to do, because it's exciting. It's the doldrums is where people drown often, you know what I mean? So it's like one of those things, you could say one is more important than the other, but they're all the same to me, each style.
If you were to say one thing that has helped you save a ton of people, and you obviously have, right in that documentary you did, which we'll make sure we put in the link to the bio on YouTube, what is the most important thing that has helped you save all those people? Yeah,
fortunately, I've had a very good track record, and when you look back at it, you're like, okay, maybe I got lucky, but then you just see, like, well, consistencies. And I think a lot of people, like my friends, they see I was a pro bodyboarder and I used to surf these really big waves and stuff, and they think I'm like this risk taker, and I'm not. I'm actually extremely cautious. So, like,
you're calculated.
Yeah, calculated. Like, meaning, like, I might surf this big wave, but I've probably been looking at that spot and had it on my radar for 6 years before I even attempted it. And people look at that as like, oh, how did you? I'm not trying to gamble with my life, even when I'm doing big rescues. So when I say that I'm cautious, or you say calculated, it's trying to live in the present, but like, live in the present, but like see the future. Meaning, like, okay,
I've been here before.
Yeah, I've been here before. And like that rescue that you probably saw on HBO, it was like, everybody was freaking out, like, oh my God, this, that, and the other. And I was like, it's very kind of duck soup for me, because I've been here without the stressor many a times. So it was 20 foot and it was very dangerous, but I knew the guy who wouldn't listen to me to swim in, and then when I grabbed him, wouldn't swim in with me. When he panicked, I said, well, he has a float suit, I don't. He's fine. I'm the one who's in trouble here. Like, I knew that, like, so what I used him as my kind of anchor point, because he was coming up, so I just basically seatbelted him like a jiu-jitsu grip. And when that 15-foot shore break wave came, I was like, hey, you're coming up, I'm holding on. And that's basically what we did. And then I just swam him out, and it was like, I've been here before, all I need to do is relax and I'm gonna be fine. My job is basically to keep that guy from panicking. Like that's my role,
like
you know?
The jet ski show up and
yeah. So the jet ski rescue, that they showed us a quick timeline. That was like close to 20 minutes.
Oh, damn.
Because when you have these big surf days there, the jet skis could be all over. They're not gonna be where you need them. So you gotta do that rescue on your own. So he would have been in about a minute's time, but because he got so scared and panicked, I had to take him the hard way out and around. So
now, are you frustrated? Yeah. It looks like you had some words with him as he got off the beach.
Yeah, I was. I totally was, because there's a difference. He willingly got himself into that position and was, hard to say he's clueless because he had all the gear, to say that he didn't know that he was above his pay grade, right? So we have no like license to surf big waves, and we can't like check anybody's like, like skill set card. So when somebody does something like that and they make bad judgment calls that put our lives in danger, I'm just like, you're a grown man putting other grown men in danger, you're out in my book. Yeah. If it's a child and the parent, makes a mistake to leave them, in the pathway of a riptide or something, like that child didn't know, like no problem. When you're an adult and you're doing stupid moves that you should be aware of, then I have to kind of tell you like, hey, cut the nonsense.
I think that's something that most of us don't think about.
Yeah.
We're out here for messing around, right? A lot of times they don't want drinking up on the beach.
Yeah.
Last thing you want is some people who are wasted in the waves.
Totally.
You hear about drowning. It's usually late
night.
A
lot of time. Yeah.
Totally. Drinking. They're unable to swim. They get caught in the riptide. And most of us don't realize, just let it pull you out and then go. Relax. But in that situation, most who have not been in it before panic.
Yeah. So with lifeguarding here, it's a little bit different. And so what I say, that the issue in my mind is they're too whistle heavy. And that whistle gets drowned out in like noise. You know what I mean? They're like, who is he whistling at? He's been whistling for the last 45 minutes, right? What they do in Hawaii is different. It's a contact sport, meaning like, it's like hearts and minds. Like you're gonna go out there and say like, hey, my name's Jason, just checking in, just letting you know you're putting your kids right near a riptide, probably not the best idea. Have a way better time down the beach over there. Like, not offensive, I don't want you to leave. I just think you're gonna have way better time. Like, it's touch and base, it's PR. And then it's education. Like, oh, now they know not to go there. So the next time they come to the beach, they don't do the same behavior. Here they just arbitrarily whistle, and they don't educate that there's bad behavior going on, and then bad behavior stays after the lifeguards go off duties. So even if you have like a successful day, and then, the tower drops or the stand drops, 10 minutes later, their education isn't there. They're in the same position they were. There's just no stopgap. They're done. They're going to drown. And whereas you could just tell them, don't swim near the jetty, don't swim near the rip, stay between these parameters. If you see, like simply put, is like if you see footprints, that means the water and the high tide's not there. So it's a safe spot. You start seeing flat sand, you're like, kids shouldn't be there if there's surf. It's little things that they could just take away once. I remember when the lifeguard said, and then it's a done deal. They're lifeguarding themselves.